So for most of my life, and as long as I can remember, I've always had the tendency to find the easy way out, or take the easy route. If there was an exploit, I was taking it. If there was a cheat code in a video game, I had all the cheat codes. I skipped class, cheated on my tests. If I saw any opportunity to do less work, best believe I took it. I just had no initiative to do hard work. I wanted everything the easy way, and now as a grown man, I can see how that was very detrimental to me in my development. I say it wasn't until my junior year in high school when I started running track. Track was the hardest thing for me because there were no shortcuts. It was genuinely the first thing in my life that I took on that had no shortcuts whatsoever. But I'm glad that I had that, and I'm glad that I stuck at it for as long as I did, because it taught me discipline and it taught me perseverance. But even though I did get those lessons from track, I still from time to time have those tendencies of wanting to take the easy way out in big and small scenarios. I always tell myself that I'm going to be okay, that I'm going to be successful. I'm always telling myself that I'm going to start my own thing and create my own thing, which I do, and I tried, but I fail over and over and over again. But the biggest contribution to my failure is failing and not continuing after that failure. I don't have that perseverance. I start things and they fail, and instead of staying around for the long run, instead of going that extra mile, I keep giving in. It's like it's 4th and 8th and I'm kicking the field goal every time instead of going for it. Which, like, obviously the safe thing to do would be to kick, just kick the field goal. But it's not as cut and dry as me seeing that I've got 8 yards left. But what I'm saying is, you don't know how close you are to your milestone or to your next goal. We don't always know that, but we'll never get there if you quit. And for most of my life, I felt like a quitter. I'd much rather be a failure than a quitter, because a quitter never gets there. A failure gets there piece by piece. Little by little, a failure fails until they win. But a quitter forfeits every chance they have of winning. I think the best thing for me is coming to this realization, because that's the first thing I want to point out. If you don't ever come to the realization that you're a quitter, you may mask it as, I just have issues prioritizing, or I procrastinate too much, which can be true. Both of these things can be true. But you got to dig deeper and unpack, why are you prioritizing one thing over the other? Or why are you procrastinating to do one thing? And honestly, if it's because you're afraid to fail, then you're quitting. Failure is necessary. Most people that are successful in life have been failures their entire lives and will continue to fail. And it's easy for this misconception to be so widespread, because nowadays no one sees that failure, because success is in the eyes of the beholder, and so is failure. You could look at someone else's success and that person could honestly view that as a failure. But like I said, it's all necessary. Quitting just ends it all right there in that moment. I'm not saying that quitting is never an option, because it is, but you also have to sit down with yourself and determine, when is the time to quit? When is it an appropriate time to quit something? If it is something that is truly becoming detrimental to you, if it is something that, the return of interest is low or negative, I could argue that's something that you're going to have to come to terms with yourself. But I could argue it may be time to quit that. And I would really take the time to consider it before you decide to make that decision. But the looming risk of failure can cloud your judgment at times. But if you change your perspective on that, if you look at it in the way of, instead of it being this ominous looming threat, if you view it as something as a necessity, it eliminates that fear. If you embrace that failure, because when you have that mental capacity and durability, it's easier to pick up the pieces after something falls apart. That's what happens when you embrace failure. Welcome it in. And I know that's way easier said than done. There's obviously an aspect of delusion that comes with a successful mindset, especially when you think about your own failures. And I also wanted to touch on that as well. It is okay to be delusional. Tell yourself you're going to achieve that goal no matter how low the chances are. If you tell yourself you'll get there and it takes 20 years and you keep telling yourself you'll get there, you never know. Year 21 might be your year. But if you tell yourself you won't make it, you'll never make it, no matter what. It doesn't matter how long you live or how long you try. If you tell yourself you won't make it, you'll never get there. Failure is going to happen. You learn from it and become your own teacher. But if you quit, there's nothing to learn. I think for me, I use it as a way to cope. Like, if I gave up on this thing, I'd save my time and effort. And then I could use that time to start something else and end up ultimately quitting that too. It's like this ongoing non-stop cycle. It almost reminds me of Ouroboros, the snake that's just like constantly eating itself. That's kind of how it feels. When you're in this constant cycle, there's no way forward and there's no way around it. The only way out is to face it. The fear of failure creates a soft soul, and it's a disservice to you and everything you stand for as well. Because if you ask yourself what is and isn't worth it to you, Like honestly, picture your goals in life and ask yourself, is failure worth it? If I can try and see what doesn't work and learn from that, is that pain and loss of my efforts crumbling around me worth the wisdom that can be built from those ruins? When you quit, you don't even get to ask those questions. Just be real with yourself. It's gonna suck and it's not gonna be easy, but if you can just get 1% closer to a win from a failure, then it's better than giving up. And it's just so crazy to me realizing this now. I'm happy I did, at least in my 20s, but still, I feel like this is something that was just so obvious. Another thing that I really wanted to point out was that not everything is your fault, not entirely. And that goes for your failures and your wins. I'm gonna keep it a whole buck with you. Some people are just luckier than you, bro. Some people are just luckier, and some people are just unluckier. I don't even know if that's a word, but fuck it. It's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes at the end of the day. I'm not saying you should 100% bank on getting lucky, but some things you just gotta charge to the game and keep it pushing, bro. Like, for real. Life is not fair, which is why you can't beat yourself up constantly for everything that goes wrong. And honestly, you shouldn't be rewarding yourself constantly for everything that goes right. I mean, obviously hard work and consistency play a role, but sometimes it's just pure dumb luck, and there's nothing wrong with that. You just gotta make sure that you're staying humble and that you're at peace with yourself. It's very easy to get discouraged, and it's very easy to compare, but life isn't a race. You still got time. The only thing holding you back is the way you've been thinking about it. You can look at all the statistics and logistics surrounding your goals and all the percentages and chances of you achieving it, but if you let that deter you from starting or persevering when it gets hard, then you become part of those statistics. And you can postpone things and pick them up later. Like I said, it's not a race. If you're like scatterbrained or overwhelmed, there's nothing wrong with backing off on a goal and slowing things down. It's actually a lot easier that way. And even though it can be a bit humiliating, that's fine, because humiliation doesn't matter and it doesn't define you. If you're doing this for yourself, then it doesn't matter how anyone else perceived it. You stay 10 toes even if it look like it ain't working on the outside, because you gotta see it working, because it's your life and it's your choice. God gave us free will, which means there's nothing stopping you from trying and failing. And I also know that not everyone is in the same condition. Some people are in debt, some people have kids, some people are felons. Everyone's cards are different. But again, you gotta ask yourself, is this going to stop me? There's always someone who's been through what you've been through and achieved what they wanted to achieve in life. But in that same sense, there's always someone who's been through the same shit you've been through and hasn't achieved shit. So there's no point in comparing. Comparing blinds you to your own unique path, which is another thing that I recently just discovered in my life as well. I'm also not saying that there aren't benefits to comparing, but you have to make sure that you contrast as well. Whatever you find in similarities, you should also try to find the differences in that same setting, because that uniqueness is your own. It's like the only thing that you're truly entitled to in this life, your mindset and your way of thinking. It's okay to compare and learn. The type of comparison that I'm talking about though is the negative reinforcement type of comparing. That's the shit that makes you start feeling like this is not meant to be, or like you just weren't built for this. And maybe you aren't built for this, but that doesn't mean that you can't learn and build along the way. That's what failure is for. But yeah, so I want to ask you to do the hard things, never waver in your capabilities, trust yourself, and when failure comes, I want to ask you to embrace it, look it in the face and listen to it, learn from it. Don't run away, don't quit. I also want to ask you to not be so hard on yourself, especially when things are out of your control, because that's just how life is, man. Sometimes you're just unlucky. And I also want to ask you that anytime you fail at something, retrace your steps, go through everything that went right, pinpoint where things started going downhill, and plan accordingly for the next time. Because the only true losses we take are when there's no next time. Thank you for sticking around to the end. If you liked the video, leave a comment about how you feel about this topic. I'll catch y'all later.